right, we are going to cover about SNTP server and also the code quality coverage. Different kind of code quality reports, how to generate. These two part, right, we will try to cover. So, okay. So in the last couple of classes, right, we have tried to cover the initial setup, like what are tools we are going to require for the DevOps tool stack practice. And in the second session, right, in the Linux session, Linux very basics we have covered. Advanced part, right, once you are comfortable with the Linux environment, right, then I'm going to cover about that part. Coming to Jenkins also, right, say like how to install and how to configure up to certain very basic level, right, we have been covered, guys. Okay. So if you have any questions in the previous classes, right, you can ask us after completion of the session. Maybe if possible, right, based upon time and available, right, I will try to retake the session, maybe on the next week. Okay, let's start the today's session, guys. So as we planned right here, so in our CI/CD pipeline, right, up to what and all things we have done, right, as of now, we have already coded in Git, we have already installed the Git client in our virtual machine, and then Jenkins we have set up in your virtual machine, and then Java is there already. We are going to use the default one. Then Maven in the global tool configuration we have configured. So similar, right, if there is something like unit test cases, right, JNT will trigger automatically. So this is just a plugin, guys, Maven based plugin. Then SonarQube today, right, we'll try to install. And then, so one more thing, guys. Okay, if there any available anything happen, say like build is success or failure, if there is something about it, right, Jenkins should be updated to the developers. So to do this part, right, we need to configure the SNTP server. So in this today's sessions, right, I'm going to cover mainly about the use the Gmail SNTP server, which is free to use it. As long as you have the Gmail user, right, Gmail ID, right, then you are good to use the authentication. I mean, you can authenticate and you can set an email. But there is some limitation, guys. Something like 500 emails, 1000 emails, something like that. This is just for demo purpose only, right? We are going to use it. Okay. However, in the once you join to the clients, right, client level projects, right, we're not going to use the Gmail. Each company has, right, they will have their own SNTP server. So similarly, right, if the client has want some separate requirement, something like that, in that time, right, based on the client domain, right, we can have our own SNTP mail server. These kind of things we can cover, guys. When we're covering our Azure, right, in Azure we have something SendGrid. So their rate will cover how to send the bulk messages, something like that. All this part, right, I will cover there. As of now, right, just for practice purpose, right, let's try to use the Gmail SNTP server. Okay, guys. So yesterday we tried to create some of the sample test jobs here. Let's see
Recording
here.
was not started.
Who is speaking?
Manoj.
Yes.
Recording was not started, I think.
No. I think it's already there. It's already there. You're recording. That option is enabled, right? I mean, say how you will get to know is like if you can see some recording, right? So some symbol here. That's nothing but a symbol for recording. Okay. So I have already created a simple Java-based project for yesterday. What I have done is, let's go to the configure section. This is very simple one I have created. I just added the Git repository here. So where my source code is been placed. Then to compile and to create package, right, I have used Maven since this is a Java-based project. Here, right, I have something like pom.xml. These are the two targets, guys, I have given as of now. Okay, now when to send email, guys, post build. Okay, these things, right, this is the post build action. That's why, right, let's go to the post build action. Here editable email notification is there. So okay, in case if you didn't find anything, right, so as you know how to install the plugin, right, go to the Jenkins plugin, manage Jenkins, go to the manage plugins option, then go to the available section and then install the email email plugins, guys. Then, right, you will get this option. As I mentioned, if by default, right, it will come by default. If you're not there, means you need to install it manually, guys. Okay, when you click on this option, right, here you're seeing a lot of options, say like project from. Okay, this is nothing but a, you will see some, you need to provide some address here. Then default recipients, That means say like developer team, SRE team, everyone, DevOps team, everyone, right? You can add it here. Reply to list means in general, right? You can have your DevOps team group ID. If there is something went wrong, if this is not, immediately, right, the development team, they can reply to you. So similarly, right, we have some, if you want log as attachment, right, then you can use it. If you don't want, right, you can ignore this part. As you can see here, right, there is another option, something like compress and attach the build log. That means it will create a zip file and it's going to send it to you as a attachment. All the logs, guys. Okay, then go to the advanced section. In the advanced section, right, we can see some other options, guys. As you can see here, right, when to trigger email. This one, right, let's understand clearly. The failure any, okay, let's say like if the compilation or something got failed. Yesterday we tried with some different job, right? That time the job got failed. Then what it will do is it will try to notify the development team. Yes guys, this is the build, this is the repository name, we have this exception, and since it will attach the logs also, right, then they can clearly see it. If the log size is very high, right, so to avoid spamming part, right, you just send the email, what you will do, you just update the developer saying like some X build is getting failed, please look into it, something like that. Okay, so similarly, right, for success build also, if you want to add means, you can add a trigger, guys, here. Okay, multiple options, right, you can get it here. So to do this, in general, right, how we will configure is, let's remove this trigger completely. So let's say as a fresh one, always. When you choose the always, right, what it's going to do is, whether the build is success or failure, if it aborted, if it resuccess, right, for anything, right, it's going to trigger an email. In general, right, we are going to follow this thing, because people should know, right, if there is some change happen in the Jenkins side. That's why, right, always for any successful build, also a failure build, if any test case is failed, JUnit 1, that is also, right, we are going to send as a email, guys. So here, right, if you want, right, you can add the details here. Send to the, if you want to add some list, right, you can add it here, anything. See here. Here, right, you can add all the different users. This is how, right, we can configure the mailing recipient list here. Okay. Then to send the email, right, before this one, we need to configure the SNTP server, guys. Here, right, we just see the how to configure mail publication in the job level. Now, what we need to do is, let's go back to the Jenkins. We'll come here later, guys. Okay. Then go to the manage Jenkins. Go to the configuration systems. Here you can see some under bottom, right, you see something like email configuration. See this one here, right, what you need to do is you need to provide the SNTP server details, guys. SNTP server and SNTP port. So just for your reference, right, you can directly say like Gmail SMTP server details, just like that. If you can search, right, here also, right, you can get the details, guys. Okay. So this is very straightforward, guys. What you need to do is you just need to pass the details. That's it. SNTP gmail.com. Configure the, I'm going to configure in the SNTP here detail. That's it. SNTP port will be 587. If it is a TLS based authentication, then go to the advanced section. I need to authenticate here, guys. Okay. To authenticate to the Gmail, right, I need to pass my Gmail ID here. Then I need to set the password also here. Let's say add the password here. Okay. Then you should choose it, guys. If you use the SSL, right, there is some different port will be, I think 487, I guess. If you TLS, right, you need to choose the 587. Currently I use TLS. Okay, this is one of the security based authentication, guys. Okay, so this part, right, we will cover in the advanced sessions. This is use TLS. This one also, right, I'm checking. Then default user email prefix. This one, right, say like currently this is Gmail wala, right, so you should choose the Gmail one. Okay, say like @gmail.com. This is nothing but a domain, guys. That's it. Okay. If you a client based, right, it will say like some client name and .com. That's it. Then what kind of details? Say like plain or text HTML message, right? Let's choose the plain or text messages. Then this is the default details, guys. If you want to add some details, right, you can add it here. Okay. So here, right, just for our temporary purpose, right, there are some of the, as a mail servers, guys, okay, which is open to public. Okay, that means you can create an email within couple of seconds. One of the website will be Mailinator. As you can see here, right, this is one of the website, guys, where you can create a public email within seconds. So what you need to do, you just need to add the KSR DevOps demo chapter. With this, right, you have a email, guys, simple. If you want, right, this is just for practice purpose, guys. In real time, right, we don't use this one. Okay. So what you are going to do, you just need to use the copy paste. This is our mail ID, guys. KSR DevOps demo September @mailinator.com. This is my email. Within seconds I have created. Like this, right? You can create n number of test case, n number of test emails IDs just for your practice purpose. Okay. But as I mentioned, right, this is completely public, guys. Anytime anyone can see this one, your emails. So let's not send any security related data here to this email IDs. Now what I'm going to do is you can add it, guys, here, default recipients here if you want, @mailinator.com. Okay, that means whenever there's some success or a failure happen, right, it's going to send an email to my account. Here, right, instead of this part, right, in the real time, you need to provide here developer DL, group DL. I think most of the people are working already, right? You might be aware what the group DL, this kind of distribution list email, right? You can add it here, guys. In reply list also, right, if you want, you can add your DevOps or some developer, some project manager, anyone, right? You can use it, guys. Okay, that's how, right, it's going to work out. Then I think I have already configured username and password, the port also, right? Yeah, then we are good, guys. With this setup, right, I have integrated my Jenkins server with the SNTP server. Let me save this one. Okay, currently mine is done. Then let's come here, simple Java project. Click on configure section. Now go to here, guys. Go to that and let's me configure the advanced mail one. So here project from, what you can say is no reply, right? Something like that. If you can use it. Otherwise, right, if you can use anything, if you can add it empty also, that is also fine, guys. This is just for practice purpose only. Default recipients, this will take from the global. If you want to add one more, right, you can add it. What we will do is something like case like this. See, I created just now within second one. This like this, you can add a number of mail servers, guys. If you want, right, you can add it here. You can override the default one and you can add something here. Only thing is mailinator.com. Mailinator.com. Yeah, spelling is correct, right? Yes. Okay, like this. Reply to list also, if you want, you can add some more mail IDs. Okay, you can do practice, guys. If there are any issues, right, I will try to help you for sure. Here, right, as we discussed, right, let's ignore about the failure. I'll just press like always. It will just send email to for any activity. So here, right, let me check in the advanced section. So project default to something like the recipient list. If you want to add any additional recipient also, right, you can add it, guys. Anytime, right, feel free to add it here. Mailinator.com. So I'm just going a little bit faster, guys, here because I already covered this part, right? That's right. If you want, right, you can alter it at any time. This configuration, that's not a problem. Global level, right, if you want, you can add it for sure. Then you can just save the job. Let's try to trigger this one and see what will happen. Somebody send a message. Okay, guys. So here, what all things it's going to do, guys? The Jenkins job. This will just clone the code and it will run the Maven. That means it will try to compile the code, guys. And finally, right, it will create a demo.war file. That's what it will do. And based upon success or failure, right, it's going to trigger email now. That feature, right, I have added newly to this particular Jenkins job, guys. Let's see. This is very simple project, so this is taking very small time. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Yeah, guys. So in the lag section, right, just observe it, guys. Earlier, right, up to here only we should get the log message in this log. Here, right, as you can see here, right, email was trigger for always. Sending email for trigger always, and sending email to the recipient. Whatever mail ID I have given, right, it is going to send an email there, guys. That's it. Okay, now I think second email ID I have created. See here. As you can see here, right, start and solution training I have given as my mail ID. Here, right, this is the to list. Reply to reply to also we can add it, guys, if you want. Okay, then this is my log message, guys. As you can see here, right, simple Java project and build number 6. That means this is the sixth time I am executing the job. This sixth build is getting successful. And if you want to see the logs, right, you can click on this one. Like this you can do, guys. Instead of sending complete log file as an attachment, right, you can just share the link here, so that developer will be aware. If there any failure also, right, developer can directly click on the link and they will be able to see the error message. Okay, do you have any questions, guys? This is very simple, guys. If you observe, right, I'm just going step by step. I'm not dumping anything on a single day, going step by step, guys. If you don't understand anything, right, let me know, guys. I'm happy to retake the session, and any questions I can try to answer you, guys. Okay,
can I ask a question or
sure
at the end?
Go ahead.
The email trigger, is it the configuration of email is mandatory for all the build jobs, because a lot of emails will generate, right?
Yes, obviously. Yes. So I mean, a lot of things will be there, but as I mentioned, right, that is based upon the number of applications you are going to work on. Say like of course, yes, more than 40 to 50 messages also we will get sometimes. Based on development frequency, this will be vary, but this is one we should follow the approach. If you don't want, right, there are some different ways also. We will change the code, right? We can send mail to only to them. Okay, the list will be very small. Currently, right, if you see like, okay, I will tell you some, since you are already working, right, if you have some like 20 applications in our project, but everybody won't work on 20 applications, right? There is some Scrum teams will be there, right, in the DevOps or Azure methodology. So one Scrum team is working on the at least 2-3 API components, maximum at most, I'm saying. Okay, what you can do is you can add the Scrum team DL to the Jenkins job, whatever they are working. That means only the required information, right, they will get the emails. Other things, right, they can ignore.
Okay, understood. Thanks.
Sure, great. I'm not sure. I think some people are added, but yeah. Okay. Let me go for a small roundtable, guys. Manikanta, Manoj, Maunika, Duvi, Nagaraj, Rajender. Any questions, guys? Akhil, Bhargav.
No.
Okay, guys. Great. This is just a simple, guys. So similarly, right, as I mentioned, right, instead of Gmail SNTP, right, you just need to use the what to say, company-wide SNTP server. That's it. That will only get changed, guys. But overall concept on these things, right, it will be same. There won't be any change. That's it. Okay, guys. Before going to next topic, right? So small announcement, guys. So you please share your details to the Mahesh Desreddy. So who is the facilitator for this particular training part? So he want to create a separate group for you in the Microsoft Teams. So you please get you can contact to him. He can create a separate group for our training purpose. Here, right, I have created some group, right? Whatever assignments I am going to give, right, everything will be visible here, as you can see here, right? So whatever class nodes we have read, everything will be placed here. Now, I mean, currently this is empty. So once this is group is added with the folks, right? Then we are going to add the all the required data here. Okay, you please get in touch with him. He is going to add to the group, guys. Currently this is empty. Couple of days back when we have created this particular group. Okay, guys. So currently, right, what kind of things we're done, guys? We just create a simple job, and then we are integrated the GitHub, one of the sample repository, and then we are going to invoke the Maven, and then SNTP server we have integrated. So this is just to notify the developers if there any build success or failure. And then what next? Let's move one more step ahead. Now, right, what I'm going to cover is I'm going to covering about the SonarQube mainly. Okay, SonarQube is the static code tool, guys. Okay, what it will do is, let's say this is my Java project, simple Java project. Okay, so SonarQube, right, when you import the rules, right, what it will do is it's go to this particular code base, source, main. This is the packaging structure, guys, in the Java. Okay, whatever code I have, right, currently I have only single Java file. If you want, right, you can add more code here. What it's going to do is it will try to compare all the code to see whether the code is as per standard or not. These part, right, thoroughly, right, we are going to cover in the next session. As of now, just for today class, right, what I will do is I will show like how to install SonarQube and how to integrate with the Jenkins. Okay, how after code compilation, right, how we can publish the code quality report, generate and publish to the SonarQube. That part, right, I will try to cover, guys. It will take like 20 to 30 minutes maximum, guys. I will try to complete before our time. Okay, now let's start it, guys. So before doing that part, right, we need to alter some settings, guys. Here we have the background file, right? The memory parameters, right, may not be enough for the two currently, right? Jenkins also I am running on single VM. If I run SonarQube was in the same VM, right? That won't be, there may be some CPU or memory related concerns. That's why, right, I'm going to alter the memory configuration. Also, I'm going to alter the port here. That means if you remember correctly, right, but when we are installing Jenkins, right, I have configured some setting like this, guys. Say like get to 8080 to 8080. That means I can access my Jenkins from my local desktop on the localhost 8080 port. Okay, just like that, SonarQube also, right, that particular tool is going to running on the 9000 port, guys. Okay, if you want to access the SonarQube, right, from your machine, you should expose it. That means you should do the port mapping, and then only you should be able to access. Select localhost 9000. So that's how, right, when access that, you will see the SonarQube dashboard. Now what I'm going to do is, let's just copy paste this one, guys. I will share the background file, guys, after session. Don't worry. 9000 and 9000. What I'm doing is, I'm just doing the port mapping. That's it. Now let's move further here. So earlier also, right, I have mentioned, right, if you want to do any virtual machine level hardware related or these configuration, right, you can alter here, guys. As you can see here, right, config.vm.provider virtualbox, there is some small method is there. Here you need to alter the settings. That's it. This is also, right, as per your laptop configuration, right, you can do it, guys. Okay, if you have like 8 GB, right, you can give the 4 GB, like that. Currently I have the 12 GB RAM. What I will do is I will give the 4 GB. 4 GB in the sense 24, okay, 4096. Then 4096. This is in the MBs, guys. So I'm going to give the 4 GB. This is also, right, as per your laptop configuration, guys. If the laptop is limited configuration, try to give 2 GB at least. Let's see if it is starting or not. If not hanging rate laptop rate 3 GB. As I mentioned, right, based on your laptop hardware configuration, we should do this part. Now let me save this one. Once I save this one, right, I need to do one more step, guys. I need to reload the VM because I have done some configuration part, right? This will apply the 4 GB memory configuration. Also, there is some 9000 port mapping is there, right? This is also, right, it will alter the setting and it will restart the virtual machine. That's why, right, we should do the reload of the VM, guys. Now let's try to do the reload, vagrant reload. it will shut down the VM, guys, and it will restart the VM with the latest changes. Yeah. Okay, guys. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts regarding sessions, I know. If you have any doubts regarding any DevOps, right, let me know, guys. So anyway, it will take a couple of minutes, so we can discuss the other things.
Could you please repeat what is the use of SonarQube? Because I couldn't get it properly.
Sure. Okay. So as of now, as I mentioned, right? Okay, I will try to cover that part. Let me. This file is not saved. Sorry. I think I have done config in the wrong place. Let me do it. Give me 2 minutes, guys. I think this file is open in the right side. I have done changes in the left side. Okay, sorry. 2 minutes, guys. I just alter the configuration and I will cover that part. I think this guy is. I think this is not stopped properly. Give me 2 minutes, guys. Let me fix this one. Okay, I think it will take some time. Meanwhile, I will answer your question. Okay, there will be two things, guys. First of all, okay, one thing. When we come to security, right? Two things will be there. One is the network level security. Another one is the application level security. Okay, that means if you want to do some hacking or any attacking, right, you can do from the network level. That means if you open some port, say like some application port, right, there are some softwares which can, it will take advantage of your application and they can directly log into your server. Okay, that is also right, can be done. This is from the network layer. Similarly, right, so what they can do, there is some, you may have some brute force attack, something like that, DDoS attack, something like that. In the application also, right, there are some vulnerabilities will be there. Okay, XSS vulnerabilities based upon vulnerabilities, right. What hackers can do is they can impose some data. Then when you open the web portal, right, you can see some pop-up. When you click on the pop-up, right, your laptop will be can be controlled by the some different guy. Okay, that is also can be done. Why that happen is because if you don't follow any coding standard, right, there are some open vulnerabilities will be there, guys. At least you should close those kind of bugs. Okay, everything means that may not be possible. Of course, yes, 100% means at least we should follow the whatever standard vulnerabilities are there, right? That should not be there in our code. Okay, that is one part. And another kind of thing will be, you can't install any unauthenticated, unauthorized software, right, within the production servers. Because already, of course, yes, when you install, right, they can add some more code piece, saying like, whatever your network data, all the configuration, right? They can store to their server, physical server. These kind of things are also, right, can be done. Okay, when you use the SonarQube here, right, what the advantage? Not only SonarQube, like Black Duck will be there. A lot of tools are there in the market. Each tool, right, they will cover in the different layer. Okay, when coming to SonarQube, right, what it is going to do, as I mentioned, right, this is nothing but a SonarQube. Okay, static code analysis tool. Okay, during with Maven only, right, this can be integrated. Okay, here what I am going to do is, whatever code I have added, right, maybe after execution, right, we can see that part. I have some sample code here. What it is going to do is, it will check the code is as per standard or not. Is there any vulnerabilities or not? Is there any bugs or things, right? What it is going to do is, it is going to report to the SonarQube. Okay, this part, let's install the SonarQube. Then once you see the dashboard, you will have better idea. This VM has some issue. I stopped and retry. Yeah, I think now we should replay the changes. Okay, guys. Meanwhile, right, if you want the mail ID, right, contact details, right, you can copy, guys, this one. You can save this number and you can reach out to Mahesh. His name is Mahesh. You can request him to add to the DevOps group. As you can see, right, it is applied the changes. 9000 also, right, it is exposing now. Okay, these things and all warnings, guys, we can ignore. Let me reconnect. Correct. VM is up now. Okay, guys. Now, right, I have logged into the VM. In the currently, right, what I am doing, I'm just doing the all installation, right, on the same VM, guys. As I mentioned earlier, right. So in there is some workshop will happen once we cover maybe next week. Okay. In the next week, right, we'll cover most of the Jenkins and most of SonarQube and Maven and all this part. So what we are going to do is we are going to create separate individual VMs for each software. Okay. From there, right, we are going to integrate and we are going to operate. That is the workshop. Okay. Now let's try to install the SonarQube, guys, and see what and all things will be required. Now I have already created a small web page for this, guys. We can go through this part here, right? So there is a command, guys, to download any software from the network. That means if there is some internet, if you have some file, right, we can use the wget command. When you use this command, right, it's going to download the file from the internet to your local, wherever you have, whatever your current working directory. Here, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the steps as usual, guys. I'm going to, what it is doing is I'm just going to the OPT folder and I'm trying to download this particular file, sonarcube.7.6 file. That's it. Now let's click on this one. I went to the OPT folder and it's trying to download the file from the internet, SonarCube 7.6. That means I'm going to install the SonarCube 7.6 version. The file is a little bit high, guys. It may take some couple of minutes. Let's wait. Okay, guys. Now I have downloaded the file. Now I need to unzip this file, guys. So to do that, you know the commands. Unzip command. That's it. Okay. What I'm going, I'm just unzipping and I am renaming the file SonarCube -7.6 to the SonarCube. Okay. Now let's try to run these two commands at a time. I'm going to extract the SonarCube file. What it will do is it will create a folder called SonarCube -7.6. That particular folder, right? I'm going to rename it to the SonarCube. Okay, now let's run this one. Currently, let's click on the LL command. When you do the LL, right, you're seeing SonarCube only. If you want, right, if you want to save the disk space, you can delete this particular file. I mean zip file, sonarcube.zip. So you can run it sudo so that you know administrator permission it will apply. I have deleted the file now. Now SonarCube I have, guys. But currently, right, I can't run SonarCube with the root permission. That's why, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the permission. These commands, right, I will cover in the advanced level, guys. In the basic level, right, I will include this one. So if you want to need some more details, right, what I'm going to do is ch1 in the sense. So the SonarCube I have already folder, right. For that folder, right, currently the owner and group will be root, guys. As you can see here, this is the owner and this is the root. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to alter the setting. So instead of root, right, I'm going to I want it to the Vagrant and Vagrant. That means Vagrant username and Vagrant group. Like that, right, I want to alter. To do that part, right, I need to run this command. When you alter this one, right, when you run this command, right, there will be some changes. Let's see that. See here. Earlier, right, I can see root is the username and root is the group. Currently, right, I changed to the Vagrant. That means I'm not going to running my SonarCube with the root user. I'm just going to use it with the Vagrant user. So in the real time also, right, if you want, right, any user, say like if you want, you can create your own, say like SonarCube user, SonarCube group, something like that, you know, you can alter this, guys. As per your requirement, right, you can alter this one. This is just for practice, right? I'm going to use this kind of configuration. So let's go to the further. Here, right, in the SonarCube, right, different distribution will be there, guys. So currently, what is my OS version, guys? I mean OS type, like 86-bit, right? Sorry, 64-bit, right? 86 minus 64-bit. That's why, right, I need to start this particular script. If it's like lower version, right, 32-bit something like, you should use it. If it's Windows, right, there are some different one. If you know, like that, different software, right, different versions will be there. Let's see that. Let's go to the bin folder now. As you can see, right. So For the MacBook, we have different software will be there. For Windows, separate software will be there. For Windows 32-bit separate will be there. This is right as per your requirement, right? You can do it, guys. Okay. Currently, since my VM is the 84-64, right? I'm going to choose this option. Now sonar.sh, this script, right? If I start this script, right, my sonar will be up and running. Okay, before doing that part, right, I can do some more configuration, guys. Okay, if you start, right, of course, the sonar will be exposed to the internet. I mean, to my laptop. If you want, let me try to run this one. Now I started with sonar 2, but this is not a startup process, guys. This is a one-time process only. I just started it. If you restart my VM, right, the SonarQube service, right, it won't start it automatically. To do that part, right, we need to follow some other steps. That part, right, we'll cover now. Now, as you can see here, right, 8080 port, right, we should map it. That means we already mapped it. That's why, right, the SonarQube should be open in our browser. It may take some time, guys. Let's say localhost. The 8080, I just need to click the 9000. Okay, let's wait. So guys, it will take more time, guys. This is first time setup. Also, you know, it needs to start some years, different services. It will start. It will take at least couple 2-3 minutes minimum. Let's wait. Currently, the sonar process is already started, but it is taking some time to be up. Let's wait. Yeah, the service is up, guys. So in the initial time, right, you need to create some table, some schema kind of thing, so that you know there is some starting phase will be there. As I mentioned, right, this is just first time only, guys. From the second time, right, this will be little bit faster. Some initial steps it will do automatically. Let's wait for some more time, guys. It takes more time than expected. Let's wait. Yeah, sonar is up. Now, all system operation is done. Now this is how, right, once you install SonarQube, right, after all the configuration, right, you can see screen something like this, guys. Okay, here I will answer all of your questions now. Okay, please wait for a couple of seconds. Here, right, let's say projects. Here, right, each repository, whatever repository we have, right, in the Git or Bitbucket, right. So GitHub, something like that. For each repository, right, will be called as a project in the SonarQube. That means, let's say, like if you run sonar scanning on this particular tool, some Java project SonarQube multi-module, right, it will come here as this particular module name as a separate project here under the project section. If you add more projects like this, right, more scanning in there, right, everything will be under in a listed manner. Similarly, go to the issues, guys. In the issues, right, currently I don't have any project, so this is empty. Okay, go to the rules. Here you can see, right, these are all, right, coding standards, guys. Okay, these are all coding standard. If you see, right, for Java we have 530 rules. That means when I'm running the sonar scanning on your code base, right, it will run all these rules. Say it will check each class, each method, whether it is as per standard or not. If you're not as per standard, right, it is going to report in the SonarQube. Similarly, for Python also some set of standard rules we are going to impose. Similarly, after this part, right, we're going to identify, okay, what and all security. This one is very dangerous one, so this should be empty. Some of the rules, okay. These things and all, right, not only security purpose, guys. You know, when you follow the coding standard, right, it will improve your application performance. That is also one of the good benefit from the coding standard. So what I'm going to do when I run the sonar scanning, right, it will check all the code base, all the classes, all the method, it will run all the JUnit test case also, it will send the report. If there any duplication of the code, right, that is also, right, it is going to report. Okay, these kind of duplications are there in the code base. Okay, now let's try to do in the real-time scenario, guys. Then you will understand better. What I'm going to do is I will try to create a sample, some different project with this particular repository. let's say like what I will do is I'll try to create a simple Maven project. This is becoming slow. Okay. Now what I will say like Sonar demo project. Some random name I'm just giving, guys. Just choose the Maven if you want. Click on OK. Now go to the repository, guys. You just need to pass the on top which repository you want to run the scanning. Also compiling part all this part. Okay. Now I just added some random project, this one, and then master branch and we can use it. Then go to the Maven section, guys. Let's use the same steps. Say like clean and install cleaner package. These goals, right, I will cover in the Maven session. Don't worry. Apart from this one, right, we need to add some more configuration to integrate with the SonarQube. Generally, right, so just like a compile package, right, for to run with the Sonar, I mean, to integrate the SonarQube, we should pass a goal called sonar colon sonar. Sonar colon sonar. When you pass this one, right, it will check first of all either any SonarQube server is running in my local or not. If it is executing, right, it's going to connect to SonarQube and it will try to publish the all the code quality metrics, guys. If it's not there, right, if you are running it in the separate virtual machine, right, then you should pass some more arguments. Those parts also, right, I will cover in the further sessions. As of now, right, let's just make it a simple and crispy. Okay, I just passing one more argument called sonar, sonar, sonar. That's it, guys. Now, if you want, you can choose this one, run only if the build succeeds. I mean, anyway, if you want to integrate the mail rate, that one we can do it. Otherwise, you can ignore all the post steps. Let's just save this one and see, guys, how it will work out. Since this is the first time setup, right? It may take more time, guys, to download all relevant plugins. Let's be patient. After successful completion of the job, right, you should create a project here in the project section with all code quality rules, guys. Currently this is empty, right? So that should show the real-time data of the particular repository. Let's wait. This is right, yeah, this starts with the Maven scanning, Maven execution. Now it will try to download all the relevant packages and then it will execute, guys. Let's wait. Meanwhile, right, if you have any questions, right, feel free to ask, guys. Not only on the classes, guys, but currently we just in the basic level only, guys. So if you want anything on the job stuff, something like that, any questions, right? If you have anything, you can ask me.
The goal sections only I didn't understand.
Don't worry. That part, right? Just follow blindly as of now. We need to cover the Maven in the Maven session, right? I will cover everything. Like what is the different goal we'll do? What is the advantage of the product? When you run the only MVN clean, right? What it will do? Compile what it will do? Package what it will do? Test what it will do? All these things, right? As of now, right, just be comfortable with the Jenkins console as of now. What I can see as of now, right, you just understand saying like when you say compile means it will compile the code, simple. Package means it will create a jar file or var file. In the last group, in the last job, right, we saw, right, at the final stage, it will do something like demo.var file. That means like it is the final package. Okay. So then sonar colon sonar means it will try to integrate connect to the SonarQube. Up to this point, right, you just understand as of now. In the further sessions, right, I will go more advanced section. Yeah. Now it's running the test cases, guys. Here. See here. Here, as you can see here, right? It's trying to connect to the Sonar Cube and it's trying to build the Sonar related metrics here. See this one. What is doing is, guys, so it has identified. I didn't pass any data, guys. Okay, it has identified. This is my source code path, src main/java in the module 1. So it's taking, and this is my test path, src/test.java. That means all the test cases, right? I am going to add the code here. Okay, it is identified automatically, and currently Sonar is this Maven is identified 2 projects here. One is the Java, that means all my code in the Java, and the XML file, because I have some XML file within the code base. That's why, right, it is running 2 quality profiles, guys. If we have some Python code, right, it will take the Python scanning. Similarly, if there is some HTML, CSS, anything, right, it's going to do that part, guys. Okay, now I think this part is completed. Yeah, now this part is completed. What are the expectation, guys? When you go to the Sonar Cube, right? Let's refresh this one. You should see a page something like this. Okay, now let me tell you this one clearly. Currently, right, I don't have 0 bugs, 0 vulnerabilities, code smells is 7, dead. This means like how much time it will take to fix the 7 code smells. Okay, it will also give that timeline, how much time it can take. Then coverage in the sense, like, you know, unit testing will be there again. This is one of the testing methodology. So I think QA guys, some of the members are from QA team, they might be aware of this one. So generally, right, dynamic testing and unit testing, let's just think of it in an easy way. So where after deployment, right, that means once you deploy the server, right, QA team is going to validate the code. That will be, you know, post deployment they are going to do it. Before that also, right, using you know, basic testing, unit testing also, right, what they can do is they can cover all the code, you know, the code will work or not, with some test case scenarios, okay, before doing a deployment itself. That's why, right, it will do. So unit testing, right, when you run the unit test case, right, it will do there is something like line coverage, branch coverage, guys. This part, right, you can take it as a task and you can go through it in the internet. Okay, this is the 62%. So basic in general, right, so 70%, right, they will put as a cap. They sometimes, you know, management may say like I want 80+% as a code coverage. That will be a little bit tough. Up to 70%, right, that can be achievable, guys. Then how many test cases I have? Unit test cases, 6 test cases I have. Duplication, you know, if you copy paste the code, right, from one class to another class, right, SonarQube is going to identify that part and it is going to report it here. Similarly, they need duplicate blocks. If you complete functions and methods, right, completely if you do that, right, it is going to report it here. This is how, right, it will benefit the project, guys, SonarQube. And if you want, right, this currently, right, this just shows some basic code smells only. If you see in the real-time example, right, you will see more. This is, you know, there are some code base which is violated the standard. Okay, that's where it is showing like this, guys. So go through this, guys, try to install the SonarQube and try to explore this part. Everything is there, as you can see here, right. In the next class, right, I will cover more things. Say like quality gate is there, what the quality gate will do, quality profile, what this guy will do. So, you know, how to enable or, you know, all the relevant administrative configurations, right, I will cover in the further sessions. As I mentioned, right, so please practice, guys, whatever I have covered, right. So I just covered the Jenkins installation, SonarQube installation, and then in Jenkins, right, I have done some basic configuration part. Okay, try to go through that part also, guys. Okay, please go through, please practice. You will have more doubts maybe, so please feel free to ask in the next session, guys. Similarly, right, try to explore in the internet, guys. Don't stick to any YouTube channel, don't stick to any website. Okay, go through each options, what and all things you are seeing in the Jenkins or SonarQube, right? Go to each option, try to understand what the advantage is. If we check this box, what it will do. If we don't check this box, what kind of things it will do. Everything, right, explore it, guys. In the next week, right, I will give more overview of on the Jenkins, Maven, Git, and also SonarQube. All this part, right, we will cover. That means CI part currently, right, we just cover in the CI part only, continuous integration part only. Deployment part, right? Once you are more comfortable, right? I think yesterday someone asked why to deploy the code, where to deploy the code, these kind of questions, right? Everything you will get answers on the CD time. Currently, right, they are just focused on the CI part only. All this stuff, guys. Any questions, guys, you have until now? If you have any questions, right, feel free to ask me, guys. I'll stop for a couple of seconds, minutes, and we can discuss.
Hello.
Yes.
Venkatesh in the event, sir, not Sonar Cube, we will be seeing the bugs and vulnerabilities, right?
This kind of complex level, I mean, security level. Bug means that will be like a dangerous, and you can say vulnerability. Okay, code smell means that some coding, small minute changes we need to do. That's it. So I mean,
changes will be done by like we people only, the developer will be doing that.
No, not from DevOps end. From DevOps end, we'll make developers do it. What we'll do is we'll take the report of this one, whatever report we are seeing, right? So without this, right, we are not going to apply the code base. Simple. Currently,
so
this is the code.
These bugs.
What?
So we will be fixing these bugs and vulnerabilities.
Developer will do it. Developer will do it. You know, as I mentioned, right? You can simply say like without fixing all the bugs and right. You know, there is some levels also, severity levels like major, minor, something like that. If any high level, right, they should fix it immediately. Otherwise, right, we'll say like we are not going to deploy code to the production. Simple. They will fix it. You can go through it, guys. Like what is the bug, what is the some code smell. So before coming to next session, right, you can go through it if you want. Meanwhile, right, go to Jenkins also, guys. Explore all the different options. What and all things I have covered, right? Please explore as of now. In the further sessions, right, I will cover more advanced level.